Welcome back, everybody, to episode number 227 of Behind the Ears podcast, where we are bringing you another interview that was recorded live during our marathon show for Give Kids the World. And this is Mr. Jeff Barnes, author of the Wisdom of Walt books and also a lecturer in California at a college, and does an entire class all about Disney. I mean, who wouldn't want to participate in that class and get a grade for it? Whew, take my money now. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Jeff Barnes, and thank you all for downloading another episode of Behind the Ears podcast.
You're listening to the Behind the Ears podcast because everybody does Disney differently. The Behind the Ears podcast crew would like to thank the following sponsors for their generous support. Hey everybody, it's Mr. Chris, and I got to tell you about Expedition Roasters. Listen, I'm a pretty big coffee drinker, just like a lot of you are, but these people have got coffee right. Their coffees are made from selectively sourced premium and specialty grade Arabica beans. They provide the absolute best flavor and aroma, and select roasts even come directly from a single estate farm for a truly perfect cup that is never bitter. They've got awesome Disney-inspired flavors such as Roundhouse Roast, Route 66, Skipper's Brew, Dark Side Roast, Redhead Rum, and one of my favorites, Bobsledder's Brew. Listen, if you want to have the taste of Disney in every cup, give them a try today. ExpeditionRoasters.com, and Behind the Ears podcast listeners gets an extra 20% off your first order by using the coupon code EARS20. That's right, EARS20. And you can find them over at ExpeditionRoasters.com. Brew your happy place. If you have a little one and you're going to Walt Disney World, you're going to need a stroller. I'll tell you what, KingdomStrollers.com is the place where you want to look into. I'll tell you, I've destroyed my fair share of strollers while at Walt Disney World, and those things are not cheap. But getting something from KingdomStrollers.com, they'll be able to help you pick out the perfect stroller for you. And the nice part is that because they're a Disney preferred provider, they'll be able to drop it off and pick it up right from your Disney resort at no extra charge. So if you don't want to necessarily destroy your stroller in the process and you want to have a great Disney vacation with your little one, contact KingdomStrollers.com and they'll set you right up. That's KingdomStrollers.com.
So without further ado, let me bring up here Mr. Barnes. We've interviewed him a while back. It's good to have him back on. We saw him at the Indie Disney meet. Mr. Barnes, sir, how are you doing today?
Happy Saturday, everyone.
Oh, yes. A glorious day here in the Northeast. A lot of rain. I see Florida is getting pounded with rain. So what better way to stay dry if you're on the East Coast getting hit with rain than enjoy some Behind the Ears podcast live marathon show. Once again, we are raising money for Give Kids the World. You can follow that link, which is pinned at the top. But we now have Mr. Barnes. Now, sir, we interviewed you when you came out with your first book. Mm-hmm. You do have a second book out that came out in October. Am I correct?
You are correct. In fact, when I saw you at the Indie Meet, we were taking pre-orders. The book was at the editor at the time, and then it did come out in October.
Okay. And how's that going so far? You getting a lot of good responses?
Both books are just doing amazingly well. It's one of those things where you've got this idea and you're not sure it's ever going to matter to anyone, and you don't really know how to do it, even if it does. And then finally you sort of get over yourself and you write the first one and, the response has just been incredible. In fact, we just passed our 100th review on Amazon for The Wisdom of Walt. And again, the response was so favorable that people were like, hey, I want to follow up. And specifically folks on the East Coast. The first book, The Wisdom of Walt, was focused primarily on Walt Disney and Disneyland. But people wanted to know, hey, what about Walt Disney World? And are there some stories and life lessons and success principles that we can take from, the most magical place on earth? And so that's really what the second book is all about. And both have been received amazingly well.
That's great to hear. I mean, Just going on Amazon and checking out the book, I mean, you're talking about he's got over 100 reviews on The Wisdom of Walt, and he's got a 4.9 out of 5. So that goes to show you that this is no joke. This is a good book. This is not some gimmick. He writes very well. He's very knowledgeable. And you also teach a little bit on the side about Disney, don't you?
Well, I teach the world's only accredited college course on the history of Disneyland. And beyond that, we also travel the country and really the world now using Walt and the parks that we all love as motivation and inspiration for seeing your own dreams come true. And that's really what the books are about. If you love Walt Disney, Disneyland, Walt Disney World, we're going to use all of that as a vehicle to touch you in your own story and hopefully provide you a little inspiration and a little motivation for you to get going on your dreams so that you, like Walt, can ultimately change the world.
I
wish I could have taken that class in college. That would have been amazing.
The funny part is that, excuse me, Mom, now it's my turn for my voice to start to go away. I remember the last time that we talked. I mean, we talked a little bit about that particular course and just the idea that, something that people look at from an entertainment point of view don't necessarily realize what Walt Disney had in the sense of his corporate sense, as well as his leadership and his, way to be, inspiring. I know we talked a little bit about that with Whitney just a little bit ago. To kind of go along with that, I mean, being that you teach this particular course, and I'm sorry if this seems like I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. Have you been able to talk to some of your former students about how they've really been able to, use the information that they gained in order to really make an inspirational difference in what they're trying to do?
Yeah, and ultimately that's what really matters to me. I mean, it's great in the moment of the semester for students to find out who Walt really was and hear about his struggles, the bankruptcy at age 21, the difficulties in getting Snow White finished, the way in which even Walt Disney couldn't speak, magical words and make the Magic Kingdom a reality out of an orange grove in Anaheim at age 53. And they love hearing all of that. They love learning all of that. But a couple of years later, when you see a student, you hear from a student, you run into a student, and you discover they took that course and used that to go and start their own business. Yeah. Or they took that course and pulled out a screenplay that they had kind of halfway been working on since age 16. And now they've finished it and they've gotten an agent and they've submitted it, to a studio in Hollywood. Those are the kinds of stories that we're hearing now that the history of Disneyland's been going on for 4 or 5 years. And again, ultimately, that's what it's about. Yes, it's a class about an amusement park, but what we're really doing is taking that story, connecting it to your story, challenging you to then go out and live your own great story. Because let's face it, what would our world look like without Disneyland? What would our world look like without Walt Disney World? And I believe today we need even more Walt Disneys to go out and take that risk, take that chance, and do something amazing by, changing the world in some sort of creative or entrepreneurial endeavor.
Yeah, and the interesting part is to go along with the idea of, take some of those risks, take some of those chances to really make a difference. I've read, like the engineering or the Imagineering workout and the Imagineering way. And the interesting part to it is that, it kind of goes along the same lines of, one of the hardest things anybody could ever face is a blank page, a blank piece of paper. And to be able to, start doing something that is to pursuing a dream, especially if it's something that requires thought, requires calculation, requires artistry, requires, extra knowledge. It's always hard to make that first stop or first mark on that page. But then, like you said, there are people that have done that. And all of a sudden, now you need that extra boost to take it to the next level. I have to admit, I kid you not, I have here a folder that I have about 6 pages of an outline that for a book that I've been wanting to write for probably about 4 years now. And I really hate to say that. I hate to admit it, because, before I got into podcasting, I love to write on, doing blogging and, it's basically helping people. And not to mention everybody says, hey, Chris, you are actually a pretty good writer. People used to call me the wordsmith at work because I could always, elaborate on things very, very well in very decent ways. There's actually been people that says, Chris, you're the only person I know that could, you can actually tell someone to kiss my butt without actually having them ever figure it out. But the thing is that I've been stuck. I've been stuck in something like that. And sometimes you just need, and I know I'm not the only one, that sometimes
not at all.
You have to stop and you have to realize, hey, listen, you can do this, and everybody runs into this problem. Yes. And I think that's something that we all, kind of need to hear, that you can overcome that. It's not to make it sound like overcoming makes it sound like it's some sort of a, issue of sorts, but it's just, you can still do these things. We shouldn't necessarily throw our dreams out the window just because you're stuck.
Well, Chris, overcoming your inner critic and overcoming that sense of self-doubt can be some of the greatest obstacles and greatest barriers that we're ever going to face in life. People ask me, hey, how long did it take you to write The Wisdom of Walt? And my answer is 20 years and 142 days. And the only part that really matters in all of that is 142 days, because the 20 years prior was nothing but procrastination and criticism and self-doubt and loathing. You're only 4 years in, my friend. You're still sort of down there in the amateur ranks. Sorry, just getting started, as I talk about in Beyond the Wisdom of Walt. We live in this tension between chaos and order.
Right.
And when it comes to creativity, what you're really trying to do as you look at that blank page is you're trying to take chaos, because it could be anything and nothing all at the same time, right? You're trying to bring order to that chaos. And we change the world when we have the courage to sit down and face it. And you're not going to write the book in one day or 1 week or even 1 month, but you can write it 15, 20 minutes a day, saying, hey, this is when I'm going to face those fears. This is when I'm going to stare down the doubts, and I'm going to sit here and do the work and trust that something good comes out of it. I'll still, I'll be, cleaning out a junk drawer in the house, or I'll find some random box in a closet, and I'll find little scribbles of notes and outlines of what I wanted the Wisdom of Walt to be, when I had no idea how to do it, and I wasn't really committed to doing what it was going to take to get over the criticism and get over the self-doubts. But as I talk about in the first book, I mean, what did it for me was getting sick. As a lot of folks know in my story, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor in 2014, the day after I gave the first lecture in that dream course, The History of Disneyland. And, we waited 2.5 months for surgery that the neurosurgeon was saying, look, this needs to happen like yesterday. And we delayed it for 2.5 months. And once we did that, then I really had to, ask myself, are you serious about the book? Are you going to do it, or are you not? Because again, it was one of those critical, life-changing moments. And once I got serious, again, we went from 20 years of procrastination to having it complete in 142 days. And I never thought I'd be able to write one, let alone two. And I get asked every day about a third, and we're not ready to go there yet. So,
you know what? I will admit, I was about ready to ask, but I'm glad you cut me off at the pass.
Well, we'll go there. So the obvious third book, and I really would like for it to be sort of a trilogy. The obvious third book would be The Worldwide Wisdom of Walt, and take stories and life lessons from the international parks.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, if you think about it, and people don't really realize this, and this may not necessarily be where you're going with this, but when I think of comparing, Disneyland, Walt Disney World, with the parks that are run outside of the United States, they're run differently with the same spirit.
Yes.
And I mean, that's what people don't realize, is that, they're not, I'm hoping we're going to mess this up, but, some of them have non-Disney partners that actually do a lot of the day-to-day running of those particular organizations. But yet the goal, of course, is to still bring about Disney in these, different international locations. That would be a really interesting concept.
Well, my wife wants me to write the third book. 2 reasons. One, she prefers odd numbers over even, and so 3 is better than 2. Okay. But secondly, she knows this is going to require some field trips and some, vacations, working vacations, if you will. So if this gives us a chance to go and experience all of the other parks, we've been to Paris, but we haven't been to Shanghai, we haven't been to Tokyo, we haven't been to Hong Kong. And my number one bucket list item right now is to go to Tokyo Disneyland, and particularly Tokyo Disney Seas, which, by the way, and I haven't experienced it firsthand, but people say the Oriental Land Company, which is responsible for running and operating Tokyo Disneyland and Disney Seas, they have a better sense of the spirit of Walt than even Disney in the United States today. Now, that's what I've heard. I haven't experienced it firsthand, but people say if you can go to Tokyo Disneyland, it will remind you of the way Disneyland was run back in the 60s and 70s.
That's actually quite interesting. I mean, first off, kind of go along the same lines. I've always wanted to go to Disney Sea as well. For some reason, it's a park that, really kind of intrigues me because, this is going to sound bad because I know it's not 100% true. You have Disneyland, you have the Magic Kingdom. They're very similar. There's a lot of overlap, but not 100% the same. Same thing with, Paris and Shanghai and Tokyo, in the sense of Disneyland. But you have Disney Sea, which is something that is not the same. It's very much like you can say it is definitely to, Tokyo Disneyland versus the California Adventure is to Disneyland itself. It's an entirely different experience. I've always wanted to go there. And I still say that one of my bucket list items is the day I retire, is the day I have plane tickets in my hand to go to all the different.
Yeah. Bill Butler, who is the creative director at Garner Holt Productions, the world's largest maker of audio animatronics, he has told me that Tokyo Disney Sea is the best themed environment he's ever experienced. And Sam Genoway, author of the Disneyland Story and Walt and the Promise of Progress City, he was there last summer and he said it was the best Disney experience he's ever had.
Wow. Now that's you have to stop and say to yourself, have someone flat out say that was the best Disney experience. That's a pretty tall order.
And these are pretty high caliber folks who, have been Bill and Sam, they're very deep in all of theme park entertainment. And, Sam writes not just Disney books, but Universal books as well. And, Garner Holt Productions, they do audio animatronics for almost everyone today. And for those two individuals to say, yeah, that is the best period. I want to get on the plane and go there.
I will say that, you think of something like that. I think a lot of Americans are probably nervous about traveling internationally for that. It was kind of interesting. I heard stories from my daughter when she went to Disneyland Paris. It was kind of interesting because she was out already in Europe for studying abroad, and she's like, "Dad, can I go to Paris? Like, what do you want to go to Paris for? I want to go to Disneyland." I'm like, well, how am I going to say no to that? First off, and the second part to it is
right.
Yeah. So at the same time, it's kind of like I was already a nervous dad, she being overseas, but the fact of the matter is that she came back with a lot of really good insight into the parks, how it was run, the people, and just the differences. And I would expect that both the parks in China as well as Japan, you're going to find those different types of things that I guess you could say, obviously there had to be some inspiration behind how those parks are set up, laid out, and so on. And because if it was going to be the same as, say, what's in California or Orlando, you're only going to get locals.
Right.
But they have become international, target destinations for those types of things. Now I really want to go. I know I won't be able to do this for quite some time, but now I really want to go. I've seen commercials for Disney Sea and things like that. And now it's kind of like, I could always just joke around with my wife on this one. So I'm going to go out for sushi one night and not come back for a few days. And
going out for sushi, that's a broad geographical, destination, right?
True.
I mean, if you go to Tokyo for sushi, you went out for sushi.
Exactly.
I like it.
I like that reasoning. I like it. I enjoy that one.
I mean, granted, I wouldn't necessarily go to Tokyo for a burger, but sushi is perfectly allowed. So why is it, Danny? Seriously, I think we can almost do a dissertation on how every conversation that we practically have turns into a conversation that has something to do with food.
Well, food fuels the world, and we fuel your hearts with Disney, so they go hand in hand.
I could joke around a little bit about, I don't know, and Jeff, take this as total complete humor. I could talk about ice cream.
I think your nuggets are ready.
Wait, hold on a second. Oh, okay. This is how awesome my wife is. Okay. She made me nuggets. Think of ketchup. There's some mustard in here. It's a Mickey bowl.
I like it.
I've got the most awesome wife in the world.
You do.
Hold on a second.
About to start yelling, I want food. So, Jeff, let me ask you, any books on the horizon? Any ideas of, different projects coming up for you?
Well, what we've really been working on is growing the speaking end of the Wisdom of Walt. And, we've gone from speaking locally to speaking nationally to internationally. In fact, we were just in Bogota, Colombia, doing a presentation at an HR conference on the Wisdom of Walt. We've been to Jamaica, we've been to Canada. And so, growing that platform has really been the focus since the second book, Beyond the Wisdom of Walt, came out. And we've been doing a lot of work in Orlando, interestingly enough. In fact, I was just there a couple of weeks ago, and I want to talk about that in just a moment in relation to what we're doing today in conjunction with Give Kids the World. I'm going to be there in June for a commencement speech, July for a conference, presenting again in September, a couple of times in October. And so it's really cool to see how people are interested in taking what is typically viewed as an escape, and that is a day at Disney, a day at an amusement park, and saying, no, let's take it up a notch. Let's use it as inspiration. Let's use it as motivation. How can this make me better? How can this make my team better? How can this make my company better? And that's what the books are about, and that's ultimately what the speaking is about. And again, the marketplace is responding really, really well, and we feel very fortunate and very, very blessed about that. 2 weeks ago, I was in Orlando for an event helping to support what is an upcoming documentary on Walt called Master of Dreams. And it's really the story and road behind Epcot. But in conjunction with that, it was also a fundraiser for Give Kids the World. And you had individuals who paid a good amount of money to spend the evening with Bob Goer, Disney legend who, built the Matterhorn, built the monorail, Main Street Vehicles, Autopia, you name it. And so it was just Bob and me for about 2.5 hours, talking about his story, his career, his experience, both with Walt and with the Disney company. But before all of that, a fellow by the name of Neil McCord of Give Kids the World gave a 10-minute presentation about who they are, what they do. And it was a very emotional moment because their founder had just passed away a few days earlier. And if anybody has seen the link to that evening, I really want to encourage you to go back and watch the first 10 minutes of it. Because what Neil McCord says about why there is a Give Kids the World and what it took to make all of that possible, what they do today, and how it's changing the lives of children and the lives of families. It's absolutely amazing. I would dare say that every single high price ticket purchaser that evening, if we had ended 10 minutes in after Neil McCord's presentation, they would have walked away saying, I got my money's worth.
Yeah.
And so again, what Give Kids the World is doing is absolutely amazing. So I want to say thank you to you guys for doing this marathon session today, because they need the funds to keep these miracles going.
It's absolutely, there's no reason to thank us. We do appreciate that, but it's absolutely our pleasure to be doing something like this.
Actually, isn't it one of those things where it's like it's never a job if you actually enjoy it? Well,
yeah,
exactly. This is a long day, but we're really excited to be a part of this. But thank you for that. I mean, we know that it's bigger than us. And if there's one thing that we always try to do is we try to inspire others. We try to be influencers. But I guess you could say we try to be positive influencers, and we have a lot of people that we've built up relationships with over the years. And we've taken a lot of the things that we've learned, not just about Disney, but about life, to be able to try to get people to, do certain things. I mean, there's, Danny and I on a daily basis, we get messaged by people from those that are of retirement age down to students. And the thing is that, we try to, I've said this before and I'll say it again, because I really think it's part of our core value. That is, we try to aspire to inspire. And, for people that, I know people have inspired me to do different things. Same thing for, Danny's been impacted by others. And I think that's one of those things where it's funny because I try to do it with my team, since I lead a team at my work. And the funny part is that I'm still relatively new to the team, but when they're just now trying to figure out that, hey, maybe some of the things that he's talking about along the lines of, this wisdom of Walt as it is, there's something to it, because you could apply it not only to business, but daily life. And I've had some people come up to me on the side saying, I probably wouldn't say this in front of everybody, but what you said, what you said and how you applied what was done with Disney makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. And I kind of wish that more corporations, not just, businesses, but large corporations would, bring people on such as yourself to be able to really get those types of core values set up. I'm not saying that as a criticism towards anybody, who own businesses that don't, but I think, I think sometimes we need a different perspective. You need to look at things in a slightly different way. And I think when you do that, you really open up some eyes and you really open up some ideas.
Yeah, and hopefully open up people's hearts as well. We're emotional creatures. And I know that we live in the age of science and technology, logic and reason, but at the end of the day, most of us are still making our decisions based on emotion. And the Disney parks hit us in the heart. It's a feeling. It's an experience. It's greater than the sum of the parts. And I think we have a responsibility to do the same with our teams. We inspire our teams when we inspire our teams to dream. And that's what Walt did. And I think that's what we have a responsibility as leaders in 2018. I think we have a responsibility to do the same, lead our teams and inspire our teams to do just what Walt did. And that is dream and imagine a bigger, better, different kind of world.
Absolutely. I totally get it. And it's just totally excellent. So before we go, because we're kind of wrapping up the top of the hour here. So here's the question. I don't know if you've heard me ask this question to others, but now it's your turn. And you get a broader spectrum because you've been to both Disneyland and Disney World. So I'll go ahead and ask you this question as for fun. If you can be stuck on a ride at either Disneyland or Walt Disney World, and you were stuck in that ride for an hour, what ride would you rather be stuck on?
Oh, easy question. My all-time favorite attraction is Space Mountain. And a bucket list item for me is to see it with the lights on. And so I have no doubt that if I'm stuck in Space Mountain for an hour, at some point those lights are going to come on. So that's my answer right there. In fact, I was one rocket sled away last summer from being inside the mountain when the lights came on. And unfortunately, all of that went down before our rocket launched, and I didn't get to see it.
But now you say Space Mountain, the two locations, at least for California and Orlando, two entirely different types of rides. Which one?
Oh, the one at Disneyland, because it is the far better version of Space Mountain.
I can respect that. I really can. I really respect that. But Jeff, we appreciate you coming on once again. You guys can find. Why don't you plug yourself? I'm not going to plug it. You plug it. You do a better job at it.
Well, if you're interested in a copy or copies of The Wisdom of Walt or Beyond the Wisdom of Walt, you can find me at the website, thewisdomofwalt.com, and every book order that comes out of our house is personally signed. And so if you want to take an opportunity of that, again, you can find me at thewisdomofwalt.com. The books are also available on Amazon as well, and there you can find them hard copy, soft copy, Kindle digital version, and audiobook as well.
That's amazing. And
you will also be at the Indie Disney Meet this August as well?
Correct. So we're at Walt Disney World in June, Walt Disney World in July, Indie Disney Meet in August, and then back to Disney World September and October, and we've got presentations lined up at Disneyland for November and December. So it looks like a full calendar going throughout the rest of 2018.
It sure seems that way. Well, I know Danny and I, we enjoyed meeting you in person last month, and we look forward to definitely meeting you there. It's going to be a great time, and we're just anticipating some great things happening at the meet coming in August. So.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, and let's get some money raised for Give Kids the World.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jeff. Have a wonderful day.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye now. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Jeff Barnes making a repeat of performance here on Behind the Ears podcast.
I really enjoy talking to him.
I think you're going to say really enjoy your corn dog nuggets. Those two. I'll let you finish. Don't choke.
They're not Casey's.
So not that good.
Well, they're good, but they're not Casey's. I hate to say it.
Go to the phone. You need to tell me who was second up. Miss Chestnut has decided that she's going to pass the torch since she already won and she already owns those pins.
Okay. Give me 1 second, because I actually
deleted it.
No, I didn't delete it. I actually moved certain things. Okay, so let's see. I'll tell you what. I don't have. Oh, it's Kevin. That's all the name I have.
Probably Kevin Stacy.
Probably what. Hold on a second. I'm going to say hi, Kevin. Last name, please. As you won the buttons.
The buttons.
And so I'll wait until he responds. But Kevin, if you are Kevin, who we think you are, congratulations. You won buttons. If it's Kevin, don't know who we don't think we know who you are. Hey, still congratulations.
Yeah. Congratulations to any of the Kevins out there that won today. You are all winners in our hearts. So let's take a quick update here. Unfortunately, we have, well, I say unfortunately, but it's not really unfortunate. We have stayed stagnant here at $1,605. So come on, people. If you haven't donated yet, the minimum is $5. It does not go to us. It's going to a great cause. Do yourselves a favor. You'll sleep better at night by donating. So I just want to thank Nick, Jessica, Albert, Michelle, the Indie Disney Meet, Lindsay, the Diz Dads podcast, Carol, Mike, Becky, Brad, Sandra, Linda, Leslie, Anita, Prior Lakes, Margie, Steve, Mary, Chris, Maureen, Leanne, Amanda, Nancy, Jeffrey, Leanna, all for donating here on Behind the Ears podcast. We have raised, like I said, just over $1,600. Coming up, we have more interviews, people. It ain't over. The day's just starting. Next up, we have RJ Ogren, who is the painter, the artist, the one and only. I was just looking over some of his items he has and everything, and it's going to be great to be able to sit down and talk with him. We're probably going to have to also get him on one of the podcasts to have him, talk for a little bit longer than said segments here. But yeah, we look forward to it.
So, hold on one second. I'm trying to let Randy know that we're giving him some information. I also got to give him.
Let's see. Let's take a look. How are we doing? I'm starting to hit my mid-afternoon lull. I'm starting to get like super tired. Like I feel my eyes like getting heavy. I'm gonna wake myself up here. I guess all that caffeine I had this morning has done its course, and I'm not jittery and wide awake anymore. Let's see. Like I said, we had over 80 shares the first time around. This one we have over 61 shares. So it's been a very good day. We've had a lot of fun so far. If you're just tuning in, we're in the middle, almost in the middle of a 12-hour marathon show to raise money for Give Kids the World. We started this morning off with Courtney from Give Kids the World. We had Aaron Del Prince from the Indie Disney Meet. We finally got to speak with Eric from Expedition Roasters, they are donating part of their proceeds from today and tomorrow. So head on over to expeditionroasters.com and order some Disney-inspired coffees. We had Aaron Rittmaster of the Diz Dads podcast and mousemastertravel.com. We had the Lemon Sisters come on, and they will be giving away a few candles. We'll figure out a way to do that one later in the show. We had Whitney Wickham, who we had on a few weeks ago, all about the Star Wars Scoundrel movie they came out with. That was a good one. Once again, we just had Jeff Barnes, a Disney author, Walt of Wisdom. You can find him on any of Amazon or anywhere like that, Walt of Wisdom. Next up, we have R.J. Organ, the painter, the artist. 5 o'clock, Mike Rahman from the Be Our Guest podcast. 5:45, Jimmy Horn from the Disney Nerds podcast. 6:30 is the Alex and Jessica show. 7:15 is going to be our open air spot where we might do a Grind My Gears and call-in section. 8 o'clock, Ryan Lehman from the TMR Productions. 8:45, Trent and Jenny from the Disney DNA podcast. 9:30, Divas Dish Diz podcast. And 10:15 to wrap it up, we've got Rudy Clark from the Crazy for Disney podcast.
So I need to tell you this. Jeff just pinged me on the side, and he's like, hey, I have an inaugural Club 33 hat signed by Bob Gurr. And he is going to give it to us to auction it off. And he's even going to include a signed copy of each book. He just sent me a picture. So here's the deal. Oh, that's awesome. He just showed me both pictures. It's pretty epic. Here's the deal. I'm going to include these. I shouldn't say include. If you want a chance to win these particular items, and it's going to be as a bundle. It's going to go into the $25 minimum donation. And so if you've already done that, great. You're already in the running. But I'm going to include that as also a part of the same type of stipulation as the Dooney, because these are very valuable, being that it's signed by a legend. And also, I don't know where else you're going to find a Club 33 hat signed.
Oh, we are sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just getting word from our producer that Danny, Dannie, has actually won that hat. So, Danny, please come up to the front counter to collect your merchandise. Sorry, guys. It was just that quick. Our contests are just... No, me and Chris will not be winning anything. Kevin wanted to know, he has a question. Is it only one winner per person? It's one winner per prize. You can win multiple prizes. We didn't. I know we mentioned it before. You win one thing. If you won, not for the big ticket items, though.
Correct.
So any of the smaller things, pins, anything we have hidden ears, things like that. Once you win one of our small ticket items, you are uneligible to win any smaller ticket items. When we go later on tonight and we do the Dooney and now the Club 33 hat, those you can be re-entered. Once again, to be entered into any of this, you just need to make a minimum donation of $5, and to be entered into now the Club 33 signed hat and also the Tiana, Dooney, and Burke, you need a minimum of $25. So boost that amount up, people. You want a shot at a Dooney. Think about it. You get to donate money to a good cause. Feel good about yourself. It is tax deductible. And if you won either a Club 33 hat or a Dooney purse and you only donated $50, $100, that's way undervalued for that prize. So you guys are making out like bandits. Go over there and make some donations. Come on, people. Loosen up those purse strings. Oh, we have another donation. We are now up to $1,626.
Cool. All right. I am right now trying to prepare for our next guest. I got too many windows. Excuse me. If I accidentally now that I've eaten my corn dog nuggets.
Now he's ready for a nap.
Oh yeah. I can't believe how long we've been going. And
how long have we been on for? Like 5.5 hours now?
Let's see. 5 hours, little over 5 hours, about 5.5 hours since we've actually started our live endeavor, because we kind of came on a little bit. Boy, am I tired. It's just one of those things. Here's
yawning.
Oh, don't do it. I'm not going to yawn. I'm not going to yawn.
It's not that Chris's voice is just lulling me to sleep. You know what? There was so much anticipation, so much issues with going live and everything. I did not sleep well. I am not a morning person. You might say, hey, Danny, 10:45 Eastern is not morning. That's late. I would tell you that that's early. I would tell you that I'm very tired. Think about it. We have a little over 6 hours still to go. And last year at this point, we were almost 4 hours away from ending it. So, waiting on our next guest here to join us.
Yeah, fun. I mean, and it's I'm just trying to make sure that he doesn't have any issues joining us. I also I kind of as I said, it was one of those cases where I'm really excited to have him come on. I also know that sometimes things happen where, timing isn't quite right, and that's okay too. I will admit, I've always wanted to talk to Randy. I've wanted to talk to him about his art, because as people might get, I do like different kinds of art, whether it be performance art, whether it be art that you put on the wall, whether it be sculptures and things like that. I really enjoy that sort of thing, because I mean it's a culture thing, I guess. I guess it's the way I get that from my mom, to be honest with you. She was very much into culture and art, music, and that sort of thing. I do know that some people think that their version of culture is having yogurt for breakfast.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I know you knew this, because it was
Yeah.
By the way, I'm sorry if everybody hears the lawnmower in the background. It's really warm in my studio here, and I got the window open. And
someone's nice to have your window open. It's a monsoon here right now.
Oh, it rained. It rained all night long, or a good chunk of last night.
It's literally been raining for 4.5 days here.
So your grass has got to be A, green, B, tall.
Yeah, like Brian just said. Brian, thanks for joining us here. Noah has just pulled up the arc. He's taking up 2 parking spots right now.
Oh, I know. It's actually really pretty funny.